back to Truck on the Seven Seas. This is episode number 51. And in this episode, we're going to go over week 21 of the Night Transportation Lease Operator Program. For this episode, we are actually technically an owner-operator now, so I do own my vehicle, but I've decided to go ahead and continue the spreadsheet as if I were a lease operator, because I can estimate how much I would have made as a lease operator very, very accurately. And also, I'm not going to start a new spreadsheet for owner operating, because I'm only going to be on the road for about 3 weeks at Night Transportation, so I'm not going to start a whole new spreadsheet just for 3 weeks or something like that. So we're going to continue as if I were still a lease operator. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. I started the channel in order to show exactly what truck drivers make. Started as a company driver working for Night Transportation. Now I moved on to a lease operator working for Night Transportation, and I just purchased a vehicle, so now I'm technically an owner-operator working for Night Transportation. I show all of the loads I take, what the expenses are, what the revenue is, and what my net cash flow is, and I compile all this information and I put it into a spreadsheet that I share with you at the end of every video. So if this is a topic that interests you, follow the channel. But last episode we left off in Buckeye, Arizona, so we picked up a load in Buckeye, Arizona, and we're headed to Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's go. Okay, so I dropped the load out at Sam's Club earlier today, and then I got dispatched on another one picking up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're headed to Linwood, California, which is Los Angeles. It's going to be a live unload, so let's go. Alright, dropped the load out in Linwood, California. It's a live unload, did it this morning. Then got dispatched another one picking up in Paris, California, and headed to Corinne, Utah, which is Salt Lake City. Let's go. dropped this load out in Corinne and picking another one up in Corinne, and we're headed to Red Bluff, California. The pickup is at a Procter & Gamble, who require a very clean trailer, so I swapped it out. Let's go to Red Bluff, California. Okay, so I dropped the load in Red Bluff, California, and then got dispatched to pick it up in Willows, California, and headed to Buckeye, Arizona. However, that load is not going to make a paycheck, so it's spreadsheet time. For week 21, we did 4 loads. In those 4 loads, we got 2,168 miles, paid a total of $3,587, for an average of $1.65 per mile. Fuel expense, we fueled up 5 times, and in those 5 times, we paid $1,294 for an average of 60 cents per mile. There are no maintenance expenses this week. Other expenses, fuel tax, $489, MRP, $108, Qualcomm, $13, bobtail, $692, physical damage, $69, occupational accident policy, $34, permits, $42, pre-pass, $350, truck payment, $450, scales, $1350, fuel mile tax, $56, lease security deposit, $100, fuel tax refund, $302, for a total of $1,085 for an average of 50 cents per mile. Weekly totals. Total expenses were $2,380 for an average of $1.10 per mile. Total revenue was $3,587 for an average of $1.65 per mile. That brings our net settlement to $1,207 for an average of 56 cents per mile. Total since starting the program, we have driven a total of $45,718. Total expenses were $49,755 for an average of $1.09 per mile. Total revenue was $82,532 for an average of $1.81 per mile. Net cash flow was $32,777 for an average of 72 cents per mile. If I had been a company driver during this period, I would have made $24,687 at 54 cents per mile. And if I had been an owner-operator who owned his truck outright, I would have made $40,146 for a total of 88 cents per mile. Averages and other information. Average weekly paycheck is $1,560. Average weekly miles is 2,177. Total fuel costs were $25,390 for 56 cents per mile. Total maintenance costs were $4,852 for 11 cents per mile. Other expense costs were $15,772 for 34 cents per mile. If I kept this up for a 52-week period, I'd make $81,162 and drive a total of 113,000 miles. We've been employed 147 days, or 21 weeks, taking 20 days off, 127 days on duty, taking 82 total loads. Average load length is 558 miles, and the total security deposit is $1,950. Alright, moving on to weekly volatility graph. This just shows volatility of a lease driver versus company driver. Lease is red, company's blue. And, same as usual. Had that big spike here, relatively stable up until about 2 months ago at this point, where things started going all over the place. I started having maintenance issues, so, kind of went all over the place. And if you're not prepared for this kind of volatility, then I would not recommend leasing or owner operating. Total company pay versus total lease pay. This just shows pay in aggregate of a company driver versus a lease driver. Again, lease is red, company's blue. And if you kind of scroll over it, you can see week by week. So this is just pay in aggregate. And so far, lease driver has made more. And the gap is actually starting to widen there a little bit. And so lease drivers made $32,000. If I was company driver, I would have made $24,000. And you can see that right there. The last point's right there. And those points are also right here. So same data point right here as right here. But that just shows total company pay versus total lease pay in aggregate since I started the program. There you go. Fuel expenses were slightly high, 60 cents per mile. It's a little bit high, so not much to say there. Slightly high. And then, of course, we had our fuel tax, refunds, and discharges. So almost broke even on it. Looks like I lost, let's see here, how much did I lose? Maybe about $200, seems like. So I failed to pay about $200 of taxes last month, and that's what that disparity is there. Not a huge deal. A lot better than last month where I paid like $500 or something. So I didn't run California as much, so I didn't pay as much taxes. So yeah, so that cost me $200. And then, I mean, other than that, not much to say. Okay-ish week, 2,100. That's about what I average. Slightly high fuel bill, and you know, the fuel tax cost me a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty standard week. Nothing special. And yeah, there's week 21. Oh, another note. So this was actually off. So I realized this was off by 5 cents. So the MRP right here, so this maintenance readiness program, that's what you pay night as a lease operator. And it covers like if your engine blows up or something like that. So that's what that covers. But once you purchase a vehicle, you don't have to pay this, but you also don't get coverage if the engine blows up. So yeah, that's what that is about. So this, as an owner operator, I'm actually no longer paying. So, but as a lease operator, since this is showing lease, I still put it in here. So from the last episode, this was actually at 83 cents per mile, as what I was estimating I would make as an owner operator. But I actually fixed it, and now I added 5 cents into it. So now it's at 88 cents per mile versus 83 cents per mile. For those of you who are really paying attention, that went up by 5 cents because I minused this MRP, which as an owner operator, I didn't realize you don't have to pay. So, which makes sense actually. So yeah, I'm no longer paying that as an owner operator, but as a lease operator, you do have to pay it. So yeah, this right here went up by 5 cents per mile. Yeah, but other than that, that's it. Pretty basic week. Not a whole lot to say. This is actually the first week as a full owner operator, so I'm owning the truck now. So these are just estimates, but they should be like 100% accurate from my experience. So, but yeah, it's just estimates, but I think it's accurate. So, just a note there. Picking up the title for the vehicle this week. So as you're watching this, I should be picking it up in like the next few days. So I'll have the title in a few days from the time this is posted, and then still working on the application to Landstar. Pretty much have all the pieces, more or less. It's just a matter of applying, sending, like, I gotta take a picture of the title and send it to them and do stuff like that, but I need the title first. So just doing that, still working on it, and I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks left at night, give or take. I'm not 100% sure, so keep you posted every week, as usual. And yeah, that's about it. So as usual, if you are interested in this spreadsheet, it's available in the About section. And after you open it, you can just hit File, Download, and then you can download it to a Microsoft Excel sheet. And then once you have it in Microsoft Excel, you can then edit it and use it however you'd like. And feel free to do so. And if you are interested in truck driving, there's a link in the pinned comment down below. Just click that link, fill out your information, and a driver recruiter will get a hold of you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.